Hey, all right. Welcome to the TSG Multimedia video podcast for September 1st, 2016. This is John. I'm sitting here with
Dan.
And our now famous SD40-2.
Yeah.
And,
Maybe everybody's getting sick of this engine by now. I don't know.
Well, either that or they're very interested to see how it turns out, like I am.
Yeah.
So, I was thinking about this too, Dan. By the time we're done with this build, I'm probably going to be able to recognize SD40-2s pretty easily.
Yeah.
Because I'll be very familiar with what this one looked like.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are we going to be working on today?
Going to be working on the back end.
Oh.
We've already pretty much, I've done a lot of detailing on the fuel tank.
Yep.
And we
Fans.
cut a bunch of stuff off so that I could add new fans, the cab, and
nose.
Last month we worked on the nose. But I want to turn my attention to the rear of the engine this time.
Okay, so Dan will be checking out its rear.
So the rear of the hood on the Santa Fe SD40-2 that I'm modeling has a couple of discrepancies with what's here. One is it doesn't have any class lights.
Oh, okay. These are just like little plates there.
Yeah. Not these ones up top. Those little circles, whatever those are for, need to stay.
Yeah, the things below this oblong deals.
These little deals back here.
Yeah.
It also has cast-on ladders, which I want to get rid of.
Yep. Going to sand those probably.
Yeah. And the number boards need to go away.
Mm-hmm. Were
now
they plated or?
They were just non-existent.
Oh, okay.
Now there's the problem though with this is, and this is something that I actually didn't notice on my build of my other Santa Fe SD40-2 5111, is that the headlight on these blue box SD40-2s is mounted too high.
Oh.
And this is a Canon rear end.
Mm-hmm.
And the little hole is where the headlight mount fits.
Yeah, it's a lot lower.
Yeah. So that's where it should be. This Canon part also already has all of the number boards and class lights and everything removed.
Oh, are you going to cut this?
Well, there's two ways I can do this. They're both a fair amount of work. One, I can cut this mount off, sand all the other stuff off, and then fill these holes and then mount a new headlight in the right location.
Right.
Or I can cut away the entire back end and replace it with this Canon part.
That sounds like less work, actually.
Yeah, they're both fairly involved, but I think since I have this, I might just go that route. I have a Santa Fe GP50, and I did that on that, and it actually worked out pretty well.
Well, choose your poison.
Yeah. So I was hoping not to have to do any more major surgery on this engine, but I think in this case I'll have to do this one thing.
Well, hope you brought your motor tool.
Yeah. First thing to do is to determine how much I need to cut. And I don't know if this is showing up on camera, but there's a little mold parting seam.
I'm not sure we can see that, but I trust you.
Yeah. Well, as it happens, it's almost exactly the same as the height of this part.
Well, there's your answer.
Yeah. And then on the side, there's another mold parting seam right here.
Yeah. Which
also, luckily for us, since this is a Santa Fe unit, also corresponds with where the yellow starts.
Oh, good.
On the end of the body. So we won't have to worry about the seam too much. So anyway, the basic idea is to cut it back to those mold parting lines.
Oh, wow.
And then
that's some fine work.
Yeah, and you want to make sure not to cut too much. If I do it right, should be able to put this on and only have to worry about filling seams maybe at the top where there's this rounded bit.
Right, with putty.
Yeah, because the sides, because there's a color separation there anyway, probably won't be noticeable.
Okay.
So we'll see if we can make that happen. All right, so after some grinding and cutting and filing, I've got this almost to where it needs to be. One thing though, whoops, there's a little ridge on either side of this piece.
Yep, you can see it.
That's supposed to fit on the inside of the shell. Well, the problem is that this shell is a lot thicker than this. So I'm going to have to thin down the inside of this a little bit right in the end.
Oh.
So this lip will fit. Because otherwise if you tried to put it in, it would squeeze this together too much.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. So you're going to have to file down the edges.
Right. So kind of this way.
Okay.
Is what I'm talking about. Okay, so I haven't glued this on yet, but it pretty much fits in
I guess
well.
Your cutting was accurate.
Well, I took a little at a time.
Right?
Yeah.
That's the one thing that people watching don't get to know. The last time I started the camera probably was about 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, it's taken a while. So before I put this on, I want to put the doors on the bottom here.
Okay.
Because it'd be easier to do that before I glue this all together.
Mm-hmm.
So I glued on the doors, and these also have a little reinforcing strips. This comes with the Canon kit. This is very similar to the way their nose kits are put together, except without the sides and everything.
Well, yeah, really?
Yeah. But anyway, the little reinforcement strips just basically help to keep the doors from getting pushed in.
Right.
I guess they do this separately in case for some reason you wanted to model those open.
I don't think I've ever seen one.
Yeah, I think they're access doors for something, but
Yeah.
I've never modeled mine open, so I just always glue them on like this.
Maybe for a locomotive that's sitting in a yard in a shop and is being worked on?
Yeah, that's probably the only time you'd ever see it like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, while this is still off the model, I also want to drill the holes for the grab irons.
Yes.
And these are pre-dimpled.
Mm-hmm.
So they have the nut bolt washer detail on there already, which is cool. That saves me from having to do that. But there's also a little dimple in each one of these where you could just fit the drill. And I'm using a number 78 drill bit here.
How many grabs are there?
Well, there's one on this side, and then there's about 6 on the other side.
Oh, okay, so it's a bunch of holes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm putting some pressure on this part so that it has a nice tight fit with the body.
Oh, must be time to glue it.
Yeah, and then I'm going to glue it with some liquid styrene cement from the inside. Okay, so I've got the part glued on, and I've started to sand up here a little bit to blend it. It looks like I'll probably have to use a little bit of putty to fill the seam up here.
Right.
I think on the sides, like I said, I won't need to worry about it too much. But up top here, I can see that it's got a couple small little hairline gaps, and I really would like to get rid of that. So
okay.
So the part I'm using, by the way, for the rear of the hood is Canon part number 1154. It's a blank -2 hood end. They do have other ones if you needed one for a pre-2 unit or one with number boards or things like that. They have about 5 different ones you can choose from. So I've puttied and sanded this seam here. And now I don't like to take it on faith that that's going to completely make it go away. So what I'm going to do is paint a little primer on there. And,
to make the seam go away?
Well, I want to see. If you use a little primer, you can either spray it or use a brush. I'm just going to use a brush right now and just dab a little bit on here.
Yeah, because if the gap is still there, it'll show up, huh?
Right. Sometimes you really can't see it when there's nothing, covering the plastic. So if you just put a little paint on it and then let that dry, and then you can see if there's still a crack there. Even though I'm not really working on the front right now, I did fill a few of the seams on the nose, and I'm doing the same thing, just dabbing a little paint on it. I really don't like painting with a brush because it doesn't come out very smooth usually, but I'm going to sand this off. So this is just a test.
Right, so this is really only just to make sure that the putty is doing its job and filling the seams completely.
Right. All right, so the paint is dry, and I've been looking at this thing from a bunch of different angles, and I don't see any crack. So,
right on.
Yeah, so now I'm pretty confident that either the putty had eliminated it or the paint that I put on just eliminated it.
Finish the job.
Yeah, well, very small seams can sometimes be filled by paint. Yeah. So now I'm just going to sand it so that it's smooth again, get rid of that brush stroke roughness off of it, and then we'll call it a day on the seam. Okay, so now that the seams are filled, I'm ready to put the headlight on the back. And before I do that, I want to put a support block behind the headlight.
Oh, right. So that you have a place for the fiber optic to run through?
Right, because you want to make sure that the fiber optics have enough material to hold them straight.
Right.
So they don't flop around, and you don't want the lights shining off in some crazy direction.
Yeah.
So what I did was I laminated several pieces of 040 styrene together, and then I cut and filed them to an angle that matches the inside of the hood.
All right.
And I'm going to glue it behind that little circle where the light goes.
Wouldn't it work just to put a solid flat? I guess it might bend, huh? The fiber optic might bend a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Like, take the part that's angled and just put something across it like that.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I'm showing Dan off camera, but yeah.
Yeah, you're talking about spanning the thing without filling in the V part.
Yeah.
You could do that too.
Would it work as well? Or
if it was mounted securely, it would probably work okay.
Okay. Just curious.
I just decided to do it this way.
Yeah, I'm sure this way is better, though.
Yeah, it's nice and solid this way. So I just used some liquid styrene cement to glue the support block in there behind the headlight.
There it is. So what's next? Do you drill a hole to accommodate?
Well, first I want to attach the headlight casting on the outside.
Yeah.
So that'll be what we do next. So one thing that's kind of neat about the Canon hood end kit is that it comes with some different headlight mounts. This is the most common one. This is the horizontal type that you see on most engines, but they also have a vertical one and then the single light one that you see on some Canadian units. So depending on what you're modeling, you might want to use one of these other ones. So because I glued some plastic behind the hole, I'm going to have to shorten this mounting peg just slightly because it bumps into things right now.
Oh, it won't push all the way in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because of the plastic I glued behind it. So I'm just going to shorten it about like that. Okay, so the headlight mount just fits in this hole.
Right.
And the only thing is to make sure it's straight before I glue it.
And what kind of glue do you use for this?
Just liquid styrene cement.
Oh, just like everything else.
Just like everything else, yeah. So now that the headlight mount is on, the Canon headlight casting has these two little pins, and it fits in two little holes in the headlight mount.
Oh, I see.
So it should just, whoops.
Well, I get what you're doing.
Yeah.
That was funny.
Yeah.
It had a mind of its own, Dan. It didn't want to be put on.
So I have to glue it still, but the same glue, liquid styrene cement. All right, now just like I did in front, I'm going to drill holes with the number 67 drill bit through the lenses.
Just got to be careful that they're straight, right?
Right. One thing I should mention is that most headlight castings have a concave area where the lens will go, so it automatically centers the drill bit.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, so you don't have to worry about that too much.
Just have to worry about it being straight, huh?
Right. Okay, so that's pretty much it for the back end for now. I'm going to leave the grab irons off because those are going to be blue and the back of the engine's going to be yellow.
Oh.
So it'll be easier to paint them separately.
Right.
And also, I'm leaving off the sand filler hatch because I'm going to paint the yellow first and then mask over it. And if that thing is in the way, it just would make my life a lot harder. So I'll leave that off until after painting also.
Okay. So that's it for the back?
For now. Yeah, for now.
All right. Well, I guess we'll pick this up again then next time. And geez. We're already getting close to the end of the year here, Dan.
Yeah.
It seems like just yesterday it was January, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway, so we'll catch everybody next time, and thanks for watching.
Yeah, thanks.